Welcome to today's edition of the 2025 Rome and Floyd County High School Football Preview Show Series, presented by Advent Health Redmond. WLAQ Sports sits down with each area head coach to discuss the upcoming season. Here are your hosts, Matt Davis and Ian Griffin.
Yes, sir, we are here, and it is time for WLAQ's Rome Wolves Football Preview Show with head coach John Reid. And this year presented by Advent Health Redmond. We're super excited about this conversation. So first of all, Coach, just want to take the opportunity to welcome you to your own program here.
All right.
And get things rolling. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us, and thank you for supporting high school football, especially in this area.
We're super excited about it, as we mentioned. And Ian, we'll just go ahead and dive right into our initial questions.
Awesome. Coach, I want to start by looking back at 2024. Going into that season, you replaced a historically successful senior class. You survive a team bus crash that delayed the start to your season. Then you face two of the toughest programs in the state to open the season. So you're 0-2, and what do? You go on to win 8 straight. You secure your 4th straight region championship. And what I want to know is how the ups and downs and adversity and success of last season make you a better team this year.
Well, I think you mentioned something that nobody can prepare for, and that was a bus that rolled over, and thank God, I don't know how, but it's a miracle nobody got killed. But surviving that, and we knew that night, and I don't want to get stuck on that too long, but you kind of get into the season. I think the one thing that we took from that, and there's no way you could prepare for that, but one thing that we had a roster in hand, and I think every coach across the state now has one in hand every time they go on the bus, because it's something else to be on that road, wondering if your kids have been thrown out, down a ditch, whatever. And so that was something we learned. And then we had to come back from that. I mean, we had coaches that were hurt, kids that were hurt. So it got off to a terrible part of our season. We had to take on Carrollton, and they were in their 3rd game. We were in our 1st. We hadn't even played a game yet. And you don't get better quicker any time except for when you're early in the season. You learn more from game 1 to game 2 than any other time. So we had to learn quickly, and then we played a team that was as good as anybody in the state. We just didn't play well at home against Toombs. And then I think a testament to our program, our coaches and kids, we got it together against the team that only lost 1 game during the season, and that was to us, and won a game at home to kick our region schedule off and got back on the right track. I don't think we played as good as we could have played at the end of the year against Thomas County. I think the state fixed that with the new format, but we really shouldn't have been playing Thomas County in a second-round game. We were probably a 2-win and maybe get through it with the right draw, 3-win team, get the Final Four last year. Not against the Thomas County. It wasn't a good matchup for us. We would have had to play a perfect game. We didn't. And so that kind of culminated our season, but we did have an outstanding season. Some of the stats probably were a little bit off because we only played, 1 less game than everybody else did in the regular season.
Well, Coach, moving on to the next question. Of course, this is your 11th season at the helm of the Rome Wolves, which from the fan perspective, it feels like it was yesterday they were announcing you as a coach. It just kind of flies by. But during that time, 7 region titles, a couple of state championships back-to-back, multiple deep playoff runs. So it's one thing to have a successful team a couple of years here and there, but it's another thing to be consistently good year in, year out. So tell us a little bit about the process that goes into sustaining tremendous success over a period of time, which you've done.
Yeah, and we've had coach turnover, and other coaches go on to be head coaches at different programs and stuff like that. So I think that what we set out to achieve, we have done. We wanted to make Rome a team that the hometown could get behind, the city of Rome could get behind. We wanted to be traditionally tough and strong at home, especially, and seek championships. We haven't won as many state championships, obviously, as we would like to, but we've won a lot more than a lot of people ever will. And I've been fortunate in my career to be a part of 4 state championships in which there's some really, really, really good coaches out there that never get a chance because everything's got to kind of fall in place. However, the question that you ask is how we've been able to sustain that, working really, really hard. And a lot of people talk about working out hard. I'm not talking about putting in hours. I'm talking about thinking through the process and coming up with a plan and initiating that plan and then keeping to that plan throughout the year. And it's a yearly plan. And I think that is what's been able to sustain to success.
Well, Coach, you mentioned coach turnover. Obviously, when you have a successful program, that's just part of the game. But this provides you an opportunity to talk about your coaching staff this year and who you have with you.
Well, in reality, we have everybody back that we had before. Nice. So as offensive coordinator, we have Steve Humphrey, and as an offensive line coach, we have Josh Woodard. As a wide receiver coach, we have Will Spohr, and we have a running back coach, Jason King, and those are the same guys who were there. One good thing that we've added is an assistant offensive line coach. You'll probably remember this name, Quintavious Leslie, and that's Tick, and he's back out of Western Kentucky. He'll be working at our school this year, and that's one of the things that we're really proud of is we probably have no less than 7 of our ex-players coaching and teaching in our place, but we also have a couple that are out there, Knox and Malik Davis, coaching at the college level. So to move on to defense, you've got Dana Arthur as a defensive coordinator, coaches linebackers, and Chris McFarland is the outside linebacker coach at special teams guy. He does all the coordinating at special teams. Mohammed Abdelatif is, I never say that name very well, Abdelatif. Yeah. I always try to slide through it. So Coach A, he's got the secondary, and Coach G-Mac, which is Coach Mac's son, has got the defensive line. And then on freshmen, we have Chad Cooper, who does a great job heading our freshman program up, Landon Stevenson, Andy Mathis, and missing one. I always do that. Andy Mathis, Landon Stevenson.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Coach, it's great that you have all your coaches back. Obviously, attrition when it comes to graduation is something you have to deal with every year as a high school coach. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about some of the young men that have emerged as leaders, both on and off the field, and who you have, taken the field for the Wolves in 2025.
And I think that's something that you're still working on, and it'll be something that I don't know if the word griped about is yesterday, but we had a senior meeting after practice yesterday and said, this is your season. It'll be the one that you're remembered by. It'll be the one you always remember. And so let's not waste any time here at practice, and time goes quick. So we're still trying to find out those leaders that emerge. It's getting later, and every day, we got to see that. We really talk about player-led leadership, whereas I can lead a team, but I don't think it can be as good as it can be if I'm always doing the dirty work. And that goes through the coaches too. I mean, they've really pushed the kids to get better, but it's player-led leadership, and they've been taught how to do it. So we're really looking for that to emerge. Players that we got coming back this year. You want to start with offense? We got a lot. We got Aiden McPherson and Braxton Anderson dueling for a quarterback spot. Aiden will be the starter, and we got good backup of Braxton. Braxton may play some Sam Becker also to get him on the field. He's a good athlete. Played basketball team too. Aiden had a phenomenal year as a sophomore. He's an athletic quarterback. His numbers are really, really good. He has an innate or unbelievable ability to find an open receiver when the play breaks up. And he has the ability also to keep himself free in the pocket. So I think he does a great job at that. Offensive line-wise, you got T.J. McClintock will be at the center spot. And then a left guard will be Nasir Jones, who's a Coastal Carolina commit. At the right guard will be either Ulysses Nicholson or Spivey, which Brooklyn Spivey is back from Douglas County. He had a little tragedy in his family. He had to move back. Right tackle is right now Jaquise McCrary, and he's also, as Josh Reynolds is playing a lot of right tackle also, who's a big, now Jaquise is a Georgia offer, and Reynolds is a 6'6" freshman.
Wow. And
left tackle right now is Demarius Collins. You probably know that name. And so it's a big offensive line. The thing about an offensive line, and like our goal is right now, is to be as good as we possibly can by Creekside. Now, your team's going to get better over the years, but you want to make sure as good as you possibly can. So there's a short amount of time to that. So the offensive line has to come together and work as a union, not one guy getting a great block, one guy missing. So we're really working on that right now. Receivers, J.J. Winston, Darnell Collins, it starts right there. They're both over 6'3". There's crazy athleticism, and that's going to put a trouble on the defense right off the bat. And then other receivers, G.J. Watkins, you've got Justin Spivey going to go out there and move it in and out. You got some young guys. Scoot will be out there. What's his name? Tylen Simpson, but we always call him Scoot.
All right.
So, and he's a smaller receiver, but really has some great abilities. We had a really young receiver, a Beasley kid, but he broke his tibia or broke a piece of his tibia triple jumping. Not a big proponent of triple jumping for 14-year-olds, but anyhow, he would have been a big starter back there. But Spivey also plays some running back, and Jeremy Ragland will play some running back, along with possibly Clowers at times, some running back by committee a little bit. And there's a freshman, J.R. Ferguson, that's got to carry the ball in some OTA stuff.
Awesome.
Well, I think that brings us to our first break here on our Rome Wolves preview show here, brought to you by and presented by Advent Health Redmond and with WLAQ here. We're enjoying our conversation with the head coach, John Reid, but we're going to take a break right now and we'll be right back after these messages. We'll return.
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, and the whole world smiles with you. When you're crying, you bring on the rain. Stop your sighing, won't you be happy again? When you're smiling, keep on smiling, and the whole world.
Never ever stop reaching for what makes you feel whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Looking for an affordable, convenient way to jumpstart your career? At Georgia Northwestern Technical College, we make education work for you. With hands-on training, many tuition-free programs through the Hope Career Grant, plus a 99% job placement rate means you'll be ready to fill in-demand jobs. Don't wait. Get the skills you need for the job you want. Visit gntc.edu today and start building your future.
Are you shopping for a new car, truck, or SUV? Riverside Auto Group has a location to meet your needs. Browse their selection online at riversideautogroup.com or visit with them in person at Riverside Chevrolet GMC in Rome, Riverside Toyota in Rome, Riverside Nissan in Rome, or Riverside GMC Cadillac in Cartersville. Locally owned and operated by the Welburn family since 1974. That's Riverside Auto Group.
All right, we welcome you back, everyone, to the Rome Wolves head football coaches preview show with Coach John Reid, who's with us today. And I have no doubt that after a short time of reflection, Coach, that you and your staff immediately turned your focus to getting ready for this season after last year ended. So we wanted to get you to kind of break down your off-season process, for us, from the end of last season and then what it takes to get ready for summer workouts and all of your process to get ready for the season, if you will.
Well, that's a good question. Usually as the season goes on, I'm kind of making notes of things that I want to, and just compile a note for as soon as the season gets over to have that first meeting and whatever it is, and then you got to, so the first thing you got to do is you finish up the season, talk about what you thought was, and we evaluate everything. We inventory, evaluate, then sit and meet and start planning, because as soon as you get back from a Christmas break, and sometimes we played into December, a lot of times, as soon as you get back from Christmas break, you've got the whole squad, the 2024, 25, 26, whatever year it may be, looking you right in the face first period, because we have them all in the first period. And so first period football isn't just, hey, go in there, get in there and lift. It's down to a science. So it takes a lot of time and effort, meetings and so forth in that short amount of time in the off season to prep. And so we get the whole calendar ready. Every workout, every and where we want to be at this phase, and this phase, as far as strength, speed, and conditioning and all those things. And so that's the first thing, get the calendar set. And then you try to get through the winter phase, putting in some footwork and whatever techniques you could put in along with the weight room and all that. Meetings, establishing what you're going to be able to do as far as an offense, defense, and special teams, and start. We meet in the mornings and afternoons about twice a week, and or probably more than that. And coordinators meet probably every day with me because they have a period off. And so we started establishing a game plan, what we're going to do as far as techniques and and the scheme and all that. And then you get into spring, and the spring is all detailed, scripted, every minute's put in, and you get into the summer phase, which we're wrapping up now, and there's stepping stones. We had an OTA at North Paulding. We had a 7-on-7 at Georgia Tech. We had another stepping stone at Gainesville last week, where we went against Gainesville, Newton, Jefferson. And then this is the next. So we've already addressed the kids. This is this phase to getting to Creekside.
I got a follow-up question to that, because the theme of a lot of what we've been talking about so far in our conversation has been attention to detail, structure, very specific things like that. So at what point, I mean, obviously you had success for a long time, as we talked about earlier. At what point of your life, and where do the influences come from that helped you, develop that detail-oriented process?
I mean, my dad was my dad had an honorable discharge for both the Navy and the Army. And so I think some of that was in the household. Mm-hmm. And then I coached. It's some of that is innate. It's just in me. Like all of us have little quirks, and one of mine is everything down to the last minute has to be planned for, which is my most stressful point of the whole year is every practice, because it's not much I can do on Friday night. It's all in. And so we can make calls and stuff, but I can't get on the field and help them. So that detail stuff is kind of built in. And then I coached for some really good guys who are super detailed, and they showed me how to plan, and down to the nth degree practice plan. So if you were to see, I should have probably brought one. If you were to see our practice plan, it's color coded, and it's down to the last minute, and then it's scripted. So not only is that the plan, but on the backside of you got a paper. It shows every play we're running from what hash, and that'll be even today without pads.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Coach, I know strength and conditioning is a year-round thing for your players, and it's paramount to success on Friday nights. So tell us about the work your players are putting in on that front, and then the coaches that are coordinating that effort.
I think the first thing that goes into strength, and football strength or athletic strength, or whatever you want to call what we're doing in whatever sport you're doing it, is to be able to perform and be as injury-free as possible. So that's the first way. So to be able to do out there and be on the field and hitting and doing the things it requires, and pushing and shoving and all this stuff that it requires at a high level of resistance, you have to have a plan. And so I think our strength coach, Coach A, has done a great job with not only the flexible but the multiple joint movements. We're not just moving bars in one direction. We've got landmines and kettlebells and different movements, not only to increase speed and strength, but increase flexibility in a broad range.
And Coach, next thing we wanted to ask you about, in kind of keeping with the off season, the July 4th week is usually the dead week typically. So when you get back from that week, I imagine the intensity just kind of reaches a different sort of level. You hit a different gear. So what does the average day look like as you get closer to the season in terms of kind of up in the ante, if you will, and kind of ratcheting things up to get ready for the actual season?
Well, I think you got to tweak the schedule for different times for different rosters. This one has a few freshmen or young guys that will have to play. So what we did when we got back from break is we tried to up the amount of situational plays these guys got into, and we're doing that today. But what in our typical summer, what it goes like is this, man. It's what we call it grind day is typical. You're gonna come in, eat breakfast, watch film, lift weights, and then go through indie, group, team situations, offense and defense, and then go home at noon. That's a summer for a kid. So it isn't like the old days. And then the next day we call it a play day, where you start, and you got to coach these kids different nowadays. The next day you start with the football, and it's situational football for like quite some time, and then just weights with the special team. And we never take the field without doing a pursuit, a tackling, ball security, or something like that. That's every day, even one day before a state championship. I think we mentioned that last year.
Maybe a better question there would be, when you have the dead week, is it kind of hard to shut that off? Because I know you're in that mode. I mean, do you get some downtime, maybe go to the beach, relax, something like that?
It's, this year we went home, and my mom's 87 years old, so we spent some time back in the hometown. But it never shuts off. The phone rings constantly. Mm-hmm. And so there really is, in the state of Georgia, as a head coach, and anybody that's listened to this as a head coach will nod their heads, there is no downtime. Mm-hmm. They're just not. And I get calls during the spring, and you get calls. Maybe Christmas. I try to people leave mine by Christmas to me, but there's you try to. You still reflect. I mean, you're so ramped up at this level where we're going to be in the top 10 against top 10 teams that you even when you're at home with your family, you're going, oh, man, I wonder if Carrollton's working out hard today. But you're always, you don't turn it off. There's no way. There's no way. And and I don't know, someday when I retire, I hope I can turn it off,
Wow.
Well, I think everybody in Rome hopes you stick around for a long time, Coach. So we're going to this takes us to our next break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the defense, the roster, preparing for Creekside. But we're glad you're with us here on our Rome Wolves football preview show with head coach John Reid, brought to you by Advent Health Redmond, and we will be back shortly.
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, and the whole world smiles with you. When you're crying, you bring on the rain. Stop your sighing, won't you be happy again? When you're smiling, keep on smiling, and the whole world.
Never, ever stop reaching for what makes you feel whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Looking for an affordable, convenient way to jumpstart your career? At Georgia Northwestern Technical College, we make education work for you. With hands-on training, many tuition-free programs through the Hope Career Grant, plus a 99% job placement rate means you'll be ready to fill in-demand jobs. Don't wait. Get the skills you need for the job you want. Visit gntc.edu today and start building your future.
Are you shopping for a new car, truck, or SUV? Riverside Auto Group has a location to meet your needs. Browse their selection online at riversideautogroup.com or visit with them in person at Riverside Chevrolet GMC in Rome, Riverside Toyota in Rome, Riverside Nissan in Rome, or Riverside GMC Cadillac in Cartersville. Locally owned and operated by the Welburn family since 1974. That's Riverside Auto Group.
Welcome back, everyone. We are thrilled to have Rome High head football coach John Reid in the studio with us today, and we're going to turn our focus to the upcoming season in this next segment. We're going to get to defense next, but I want to go back and talk about your offense a little bit more. You discussed having two quarterbacks with experience and Aiden's ability to escape and extend plays in the pocket. But as far as style of play, I know you've got the same coaching staff back. What can we expect from the Wolves offense this year?
Well, I think with Aiden and Braxton, you have two quarterbacks that can throw and run, and so that's always a positive. I think Aiden, I think he ran at 10.9 100 meters in one of the track meets this year, so he's got great speed, and he's a huge threat. He's got a big arm, and he's grown a bunch since last year. He's probably over 5'10", and probably ranging in there 180, 185 pounds, so it's a whole total different kid. From that point in perspective of the offense, I would think that, we're going to, emphasize a little more quarterback run this year. Last year, when Aiden was 5'7" and 155 pounds or 5'6", I was a little leery of having him run, and obviously it was right because he threw a ball at Alexander and broke his wrist on a touchdown. That's the kind of kid he is. So then we had Braxton come in for him, and I think we won 3 or 4 or 5 games in a row with Braxton as a quarterback, which shows what Braxton can do, and also is a testament to our program, being able to lose your starting quarterback and still win the region and go undefeated in the region. So that was big. So offensively that, and then, we use with the receivers and the big offensive line and the running backs, be able to spread the defense. And it's like everybody's going to tell you, they're going to try to get the ball in athletes' hands. We have them, and so we're going to get them to Spivey and Darnell, obviously, and JJ, and it's going to be difficult, to defend us, especially with the quarterback being able to run. So that's our goal.
Well, Coach, obviously over the years, y'all have had some record-breaking offenses during your tenure, but your teams have always been extremely good on the defensive side of the ball. as well. So let's talk about some of your standout players there, what we can expect, how you're going to approach your defense this year, and what the fans are going to see from the Wolves defense this season, if you will.
You know, it's interesting that a lot of people go, Coach, you're a defensive coach. And I always thought it was weird that, or interesting that the people that aren't involved in our program aren't do football from try to claim a coach as a this or that.
Right.
I coached offensive line for over 20 years. I called all the plays offensively at Alcoa and East Paulding, you know, and so I'm not a defense or an offense. I stick myself where I needed most. Right now I'm in coach of defensive line. Our teams have been good on both sides of the ball, as you will see most teams that have won 100 games in 10 years. And we've won, I think, 105 or more in 10 years, so it's over 10 a year. So you're going to be good on both sides. And so historically, we've been low. We try to keep it below 10 in a game, and that's really hard, defensive average, and high scoring, in which at one point in time we held the state single-season scoring record. We could have obliterated that, but I pulled guys off the field when Jemias was a junior. So if you remember that.
I do.
We do.
Very well.
Very well.
So, you know, I think to answer your question, you know, defensively, you got to be good on both sides of the ball, and that's what I was talking about defensively for this year. We got to replace Jaden Harmon, and Darnell's one of the few guys on our team that plays two ways, and he's going to be roving around back there in the secondary. I don't know that he's not a potential NFL player as a safety. Georgia Tech likes him as a receiver. And other teams recruited him, some SEC teams recruited him as a safety. So we'll see. That's nice to have him back there. You got Sean Warford back there with him, a tall kid that ran track, is a good player. Right now, there's a multitude of guys playing corner, but Jeremy Ragland's playing corner, and Elijah Mathis is going to be a really good corner. He looked fantastic yesterday in a tackling drill. And there's some backups there that are also fighting for spots at DJ Watkins and Scoot and some other kids that are fighting for spots there. I think inside linebacker is going to be, and replacing Harmon, I got Jaden Worsham out there right now. He's kind of a blue-collar kid. He's going to be a better player than people think. He's been waiting for his chance. You don't replace Harmon.
Yeah.
No. And he's going to be fantastic at Tennessee. So, and then inside backer is a couple of younger guys and a bunch of guys fighting for the spot. You know, Eli Richards and Seth Hooker and Jaden Clowers, who already has an offer. He's just never played linebacker much, but he's a 6-foot-something and 195 runner. So you got Dash Kinnebrew, Defensive Player of the Year, coming back at defensive end. And across from him will either be Marquez Elston coming back or Tim Perkins. So those guys will be good at the defensive end. Will be extremely athletic. Perkins ran 22.9 miles an hour the other day at a camp with the catapult on. So on a GPS. So those guys all run over 20 miles an hour all the time at practice. Inside will be Jaquise McCrary, who is a Georgia offer, which means he's an SEC-type player at tackle. Nose will be A.J. Adams. You probably heard that name before. He's a state champ in the shot put. And then different guys. Trey McCain, the Brooklyn Spivey will fill in there. So we got some depth there. Maybe Nasir may play some there. We'll see. We don't need him yet. But if it comes to a situation where we may need him, we might play in there. But some good players inside too.
Well, Coach, we spent some good time on offense, defense, but I felt like we should focus a little bit on special teams because obviously that's something that can have a tremendous impact on how the game turns out. So tell us a little bit about how you're looking special teams-wise and some standout guys there, if you will.
Well, I think there's a lot of parts that people probably just take for granted in special teams. One of them will be your snapper, so we're working on having a good snapper. Keaton Mull's been doing that. And then punting is kind of punt by committee, but we'll find one. We've always kind of come up with it, all-region type punter. Jason Cruz will be the kicker, and he's fantastic. We've always developed kickers throughout our practices, and we've had all-region type kickers. Jason will be the same. I think he's pretty solid from inside 45 yards, and he may be able to kick, about 25% of his kicks in the end zone, depending on the weather, which will help us. Return guys will be JJ and Darnell and Ragland and DJ and all the fast guys, Spivey and all those guys.
Excellent. Well, Coach, as we wrap up, we want to talk a little bit about the schedule you have in front of you, as is tradition.
I got to go.
for Rome. Well, I mean, you never shy away from tough opponents, and obviously that pays dividends later in the season. But you open with a trio of really tough non-region opponents before getting to region play. Tell us how you approach the scheduling and what matchups you're looking forward to, and how this makes you better in region play and then in the playoffs.
Well, I think that, and I'm going to do a talk with our young coaches on scheduling. All of the coaches in our athletics, as far as anywhere from volleyball to how you schedule. And I think early on when you take a program that's down and scheduled, everybody wants to play you. We're not in that position anymore, and so it's hard for us to get teams that would benefit from playing us, that we would benefit from playing them. That's a good game. So we're getting, you get the Creeksides now and the Carrolltons, and really the Toombs game is a lose-lose situation for us because they're small classification, but they're as good as anybody. And they would have won anywhere from, not put anybody down, but they would have won a lot of classification state championship last year. And so how do you approach it? Do you approach it like this, and how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You just can't get ahead of yourself. Right now, the first game of our schedule is Creekside, and you didn't even know this, but you probably might. Douglas County is our scrimmage.
Okay.
So they'll be probably nationally ranked. And so, you're going to go in there and play the best football, fundamental football you can, and try to come out of that with some things you can take into the Creekside game. And I don't think you can get, I want to win everything we do, but I don't think you can get too crazy about, you got to find something for that, because you can't get too caught up in that, because you got to go to the Creekside game, and they're going to be national or state ranked for sure in the top 5, and they probably already are. I let the coaches worry about that. Right. I just tell our kids we're going to be in the top 5, and so are all the other opponents. Maybe I don't know, even East might be ranked in the top 10.
Coach, final question for you, and then we will wind things down here on our program. I've enjoyed our conversation today. But we've got Coach Reid with us here for just one more. But as you get ready for your 11th season to start at Rome, obviously you really like it here. You've been here for a while, had a lot of success, and really become a part of the community over the years. So tell us what some of the things are that we might not think about that make coaching at Rome and being in Rome so special to you, Coach.
Well, I think we came in with a vision and kind of a dream, and I think that the people got behind us on that, and we've been able to do some things that not only help Rome football, but has helped the whole school, and some ideas and dreams I had about building the tech center, and along with that, put some sort of indoor practice facility, and it's been huge, and so that's made it a lot easier to coach in different situations. The town is awesome. I mean, I think there's a good vibe here. People love their sports, and I like the downtown atmosphere. And it's the longest I've ever been anywhere. So, other than when I grew up in Fort Wayne, so me and Julie like it, and it's always been good. And it's hard to believe it's the 11th year already. But those are some things that we set out to do, and people have helped us along the way.
Well, that's awesome, man. And just as always, we really appreciate your time. We enjoy getting to talk to you this time of year, as everybody's so excited about the season. I know there's a lot of pressure with it too, but you can feel the excitement and the intensity, and we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today, man.
That's great. I appreciate it too. It's just weird that as soon as 4th of July gets over, you're like, man, when's football going to start here? Right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's all gas, no break.
Yeah, it is all gas right now. NFL, SEC, everybody's starting up, so we're rolling.
All right.
Go get them, go Wolves. We look forward to seeing your product on the field.
Yeah, it'll be out there. And before you know it, we got the Soap game August 1st, and then Douglas County the 8th, and then the 15th, Creekside, and then it goes right on. A bunch of home games this year. We only have 3 away games.
Well, this has been the Rome Wolves preview show here, produced by WLAQ, presented by Advent Health Rome and Redmond. We appreciate our sponsors, Advent Health, also Georgia Northwestern Technical College, and Riverside Auto Group. And again, I'll reiterate what Ian said. Best of luck to the Wolves this year. And thank you again for your time. That's going to put a wrap on our show for today. And take care, everybody. We appreciate you.
Hope you enjoyed this edition of the 2025 Rome and Floyd County High School Football Preview Shows, presented by Advent Health Redmond. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to our channel for more local content from the WLAQ Radio YouTube channel.